The verdict, a sister's unyielding resolve. The air in the courtroom vibrated with a tightly coiled electricity, a silent hum of anticipation. Murmurs filled the space as lawyers rustled papers, and Judge Holloway settled into her chair, her presence commanding immediate respect. In the third row, First-Class Petty Officer Layla Chambers sat motionless, a statue carved from sheer determination. No military uniform, no tactical boots, just a sharp black blazer and a discreet court ID badge clipped to her chest. Her hair was pulled back, her posture ramrod straight, hands resting on her knees, fingers precisely interlaced. She wasn't there to be seen, but to observe. Yet, Layla never went unnoticed. A few feet away, her younger brother, Jordan, 21, sat at the defendant's table. Too thin, with dark circles under his eyes that spoke of countless sleepless nights. He tried to appear calm, but his gaze darted to Layla every few seconds. Each time, she offered a subtle nod, a silent message. I'm here. I've got you. Across from them, Officer Darren Colton occupied his space with palpable arrogance. His arms crossed, chest puffed out against his uniform. A low chuckle rumbled, just loud enough to be noticed. Layla watched him, her eyes barely narrowing, registering every detail of his posture, his attitude. She'd seen men like him before. Different uniforms, different countries. The problem wasn't the power. It was a chilling feeling of untouchability. Judge Holloway's gavel struck sharply, the sound a crisp punctuation mark in the tense silence. Case number 5872B. The State versus Jordan Chambers. Silence fell, heavy and absolute. Jordan stood, the chains on his wrists clinking like an echo of injustice. The public defender, visibly exhausted, approached the stand. Your Honor, we call Layla Chambers to the stand. A ripple of whispers went through the room. Layla rose, moving with the grace of someone who knew every inch of their body. Each step was deliberate, powerful, effortless. The bailiff, a young woman in her 20s, stepped back as Layla passed, as if Layla's very presence was a magnetic force. She ascended the stand, raised her right hand, and swore to tell the truth. Her voice was steady, controlled. Please state your name for the record. Layla Chambers, she responded, looking the prosecutor directly in the eyes. First-Class Petty Officer, United States Navy SEAL Team 4. The air in the room seemed to hold its breath, a collective silence, as if everyone had stopped breathing at once. The public defender didn't miss a beat. Miss Chambers, why are you here today? To testify on behalf of my brother. Her voice didn't waver. Her hand remained still in her lap. Was Jordan involved in the alleged robbery on March 11th? No, he was not. How do you know? Because he was with me in my apartment. He was on leave. Do you have proof? Yes. Flight records, building security footage, and neighbor who saw us at 10 p.m. when he brought me a welcome casserole. Someone in the gallery let out a soft chuckle. The judge raised an eyebrow. Colton shifted in his seat, uncomfortable. The prosecutor stood, adjusting his tie with an air of defiance. Ms. Chambers, you were trained in hand-to-hand combat, firearms, tactical evasion, correct? Yes, part of SEAL training. Would you lie under oath to protect your family? The room held its breath. Layla tilted her head slightly, her eyes fixed on him. No, and I haven't lied. The prosecutor smiled, but it was a strange smile, devoid of warmth. How do we know your brother didn't slip out that night? Layla responded without flinching. You don't, but the burden of proof rests with you, not with me. Colton let out a scoff. Layla turned her head just enough to glance at him, her disdain clear. Nothing further, the frustrated prosecutor said. The judge nodded. Miss Chambers, you may step down. Layla descended the 2 steps from the stand, her heels softly clicking on the polished floor. That's when it happened. Colton stood up and took a step toward her, his elbows shooting out, a quick, deliberate jab to her side. It wasn't an accident. The room gasped. The bailiff yelled, Hey! Layla didn't stumble. She didn't recoil. Not an inch. Colton's face twisted into a smirk of satisfaction. The judge's gavel slammed down. Order. Order in this court. Layla slowly turned to Colton, her expression unchanged. No anger, no fear, just a laser-sharp gaze. "What did you just do?" the judge demanded. "I accidentally bumped into her," Colton said with a shrug. "She was right in front of you," the bailiff retorted. Layla looked at the judge. "Permission to speak freely?" The judge nodded. Layla took a step towards Colton. "I've jumped out of planes over war zones. I've been 20 feet from explosions. I've buried friends. But never, not once, have I been assaulted inside a courthouse." The silence was so thick it felt solid. "Your Honor, I request that Officer Colton be removed from this courtroom until my testimony is complete." The judge nodded. "Bailiff, escort the officer out." Colton protested, but the bailiff ushered him toward the exit. As he passed Layla, he leaned in and whispered, "This isn't over." She didn't move. She just whispered back, "Neither is the war." The room then knew she was no ordinary witness, and this was no ordinary trial. Outside the courthouse, Layla stood still as the crowd's murmurs faded. Jordan, sitting on a bench, still carried the weight of invisible chains, of fear. "Are you okay, Layla?" he asked, not looking at her. She exhaled slowly, as if surfacing from a deep dive. "You're not going back in there today." Jordan looked up, exhausted. They wanted to take a deal. Years and a felony record to make it all go away. "Did you do it?" He looked offended. "Of course not." "Then don't ever say you want to go away. Not when you didn't do anything." Her words were firm, but her tone was soft, like a sister who had always been the anchor. Suddenly, a man in a gray suit approached. "Agent Riff," he said, offering a curt nod. "Noah." Layla responded with a hint of familiarity. "I heard what happened in there. You kicked a hornet's nest." "Colton's already filed a complaint saying you threatened an officer." Layla let out a dry laugh. "He hit me." "I saw it," Noah said, "but the recordings are being scrubbed as we speak." Layla clenched her jaw. "That's obstruction." "That's Tuesday around here," Noah muttered. He explained that Colton wasn't an isolated case. 6 excessive force complaints, all dismissed. Victims who disappeared or changed their stories. "We need irrefutable proof," she said. Layla scribbled a name in a notebook. Xavier Bell, a friend of Jordan's, arrested by Colton. "Find him," she told Noah. "And what will you do?" "Get his attention," she replied, her voice cold as steel. That night, Layla accessed restricted servers from an old laptop, using her still-active military clearance. She found what she was looking for: manipulated body cam logs, falsified reports, and a courthouse video hidden in a poorly secured directory. There was Colton's elbow, his smirk, Layla's calm. She saved everything to a hard drive. Jordan, watching her, whispered, "They'll come for you." She didn't blink. Let them. The next day, she met with Leah Banks, a journalist known for exposing uncomfortable truths. In a makeshift office, Leah's team reviewed the evidence. "This is solid," Leah said. "You want to stream it live?" Layla nodded. "I want them to feel the walls closing in." At 7:03 a.m., the video went public. Within minutes, it went viral. By noon, it had reached Capitol Hill. But that night, 3 unidentified men broke into Layla's apartment. She met them without hesitation, disarming the first, bringing down the second, and snapping the third's wrist. "Tell your bosses I survived worse," she said as they fled on the day of the new trial. The courtroom was packed. The prosecutor, a different man, announced that all charges against Jordan were being dropped. The gavel fell. Jordan exhaled, finally free. Layla placed a hand on his shoulder, a subtle smile gracing her lips. Outside, she faced reporters. "You saw the truth. Now it's time for accountability." News of Colton's arrest and a broader investigation into the precinct spread rapidly. That night, a quiet calm settled in her apartment for the first time in weeks. Jordan ate heartily while Layla, on the balcony, held a warm mug. The city lights twinkled beneath the moon, and though the fight wasn't over, something had shifted. She thought of those who didn't have cameras, or lawyers, or SEAL sisters. This victory was for them too. This story highlights Layla's incredible strength, intelligence, and unwavering loyalty to her brother. It's a testament of fighting injustice even when the odds are stacked against you. If I were in Layla's shoes, my actions would be very similar. Here's why. Astra's strategic gathering of evidence. Layla didn't just react. She meticulously gathered irrefutable proof. In a world where narratives can be easily manipulated, hard evidence is paramount. I prioritized securing every possible piece of data, just as she did with the flight records, security footage, neighbors' testimony, and especially the internal police recordings. Astra's leveraging connections. Her contact with Noah, the agent, and Leah Banks, the journalist, was crucial. Knowing who to trust and how to disseminate information effectively is a powerful tool. I would absolutely seek out allies in different fields who could help expose the truth and apply pressure. Astra's calculated confrontation. Layla's response to Colton's assault in the courtroom wasn't an emotional outburst. It was a calm, calculated move to expose his arrogance and assert her authority. Her permission to speak freely moment was a stroke of genius, turning a personal affront into a public demonstration of his character. Asterisk understanding the war. Her whispered, "Neither is the war," to Colton was incredibly insightful. She recognized that this wasn't just about Jordan's case. It was about a systemic issue. My focus would also extend beyond the immediate victory to ensuring broader accountability. Astra's self-defense and preparedness. Her ability to handle the intruders in her apartment demonstrates the importance of being prepared for consequences. While not everyone has SEAL training, being aware of potential risks and having a plan for personal safety would be essential. Layla's actions show a remarkable blend of tactical expertise, intellectual prowess, and moral conviction. She understood the power of truth and used every resource at her disposal to ensure justice was served, not just for her brother, but for others like him.